We're joined now by West Virginia basketball coach, Bob Huggins. Coach, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay. Decision to make a change within our basketball staff was a difficult one. Larry and I have worked together for 24 years and shared many great moments. Decision was made in best interest of Mountaineer basketball. I'm not going to take any questions on the matter, and we'll now move on to your questions about the upcoming Oklahoma game.
Okay, we'll turn it over to questions about Oklahoma. Greg Hunter.
Okay, Coach. Then with Oklahoma, what do you see from the Sooners?
Well, I think the biggest thing is they're a very veteran team. They've been in the program, and they run a really good offense. They don't have a bunch of young guys. They don't have a bunch of portal guys. They've got a whole bunch of guys that had a heck of a year last year and came back to try to have a better year this year, I would assume.
Questions for Coach? Please use the raised hand feature. Greg, go ahead with the follow-up.
So, Coach, your club, confidence level for you guys, you sort of addressed that a little bit post-game, but where are you guys confidence level-wise right now?
I thought we could really competed the Baylor game. In this league, it's so close. Teams are so close, and a missed shot here, a missed free throw, a difficult call. There's a lot of things that can decide games because they're all so close. And they made a tough shot at the end of the game, and we didn't, and we missed free throws again down the stretch. So that's an area that hopefully we can get a whole lot better at here.
Justin Jackson.
Hey, Coach, on Oklahoma, it just seems kind of weird. They lead the league in shooting, but they're one of the lower scoring teams in the league. I'm guessing it's kind of a deliberate offense. Obviously keeps them in a lot of games. Their 4 losses or 5 losses have been by an average of like 3 points. Can you just kind of speak to that a little bit? How they can be a really good shooting team, but not score a lot of points.
Well, I think Porter does a great job. He's done a great job everywhere he's ever been, and that's their style of play. That's the way they play the game. As I know you're aware, there's a lot of ways to play the game.
Sure.
Some people like to play it really fast. Some people like to play it slow. Some people, are somewhere in the middle. And he's probably as good as there is that we have in college basketball at slowing the game down to their pace, making people defend for an extended period of time. So they're difficult to play, but the biggest thing to me, Justin, is their experience. They've got a lot of older guys. They got some guys that transferred in a year ago or 2 years ago. They've got guys that have been in a program. They understand what Porter wants done, the way he wants it done.
I'm guessing then, if we're kind of talking about their use of the shot clock, it's kind of a situation where you guys have to be just as good late in the shot clock, in position, that kind of stuff, as you do at any other point in the shot clock, I would guess, right?
Well, I think that's the purpose of playing a little slower is to make people guard longer.
Right.
Till someone has a breakdown. We haven't really had to play against that a whole lot to this point.
Yeah, it's an adjustment. Yeah.
our guys, I think, know what's coming. I mean, we've watched enough film. We watched film yesterday. We went over what they like to do and really their strengths. You know, when you play like that and you have guys who really pass the ball well, they really pass the ball, which is becoming a lost art in our game. And secondly, they're really good shooters. You know, when you got a 6'10" guy that can step out and make shots and extend the floor, it makes it harder, makes it a lot harder. And then you try to switch some things out, and then he ends up, you know, with the smaller guy on his back, and he's very good at that as well.
And then one last one, Coach, just obviously taking this team back out on the road, where it struggled, you know, after the new year, the struggles at home. Is this maybe kind of a reset moment, taking this team back out on the road, or is there anything with that at all? Can you feel confident taking this team out on the road, I guess, is the question.
I think this team is going to be a good team. I mean, I think it's going to be a team that's an NCAA tournament team, and team that's going to compete in this, the hardest league in the country, and compete very well. In some cases, we're very young. In some cases, we have new guys, and we have some veteran guys. But I think everybody has a tendency to forget the guy who runs the deal for us, the guy who is our captain, our guy who gets everybody where they're supposed to be, is Keedy, and he hadn't been healthy.
Right.
He misses a couple games. I think he's starting to get, you know, healthy and be, you know, Keedy again. But I mean, he took a heck of a lick now, you know, and I mean, he's not a guy who's just going to get a little bump and say, "Hey man, I'm hurt." You know, he's a tough guy. So, you know, I think, you know, when you take a look at a lot of things, you know, I think Eric's adjustment to this league isn't like those other leagues he played in. This is a hard league. It's a hard league. It's officiated differently because of that, and should be.
Right.
You know, so I think it's an adjustment. I think it's an adjustment for a whole lot of our guys. And I mean, and the reality is, it isn't like we haven't competed. It isn't like we haven't had opportunities.
Right.
Obviously, you know, and everybody who pays attention knows we haven't made free throws. We've missed open shots, critical times. You know, and I think a lot of that is not knowing, not being sure. Is that, you know, do I shoot it here? Now the free throw thing, you know, I don't know why we can make free throws any other time we can't make free throws. Well, yeah, I do, because of the pressure of the situation. But I mean, you think there's a couple things where we're in control of the K-State game until, you know, a call happens and you know, and then the Oklahoma State game, we make a heck of a run to take the lead, and then that happens. I mean, we're 0-4. We very well could be 3-1. It's just, I think, trying to take a bunch of guys that haven't played together. I think they're starting to. I think we're a whole lot better today than what we were back then.
Thank you, Coach.
Next question goes to John Antonic.
Can you try to speed these guys up, or is that counterproductive when you try to do that?
Well, they kind of want you to. They want you to make a mistake.
Okay, so that kind of walls you in when you try to do that.
That's part of it.
Yeah,
They want to. They kind of lull you into, you know, and you kind of get, well, I'm gonna make a play, and then you try to make a play, and the next thing you know, they back cut you. You know, they do a great job. They really pass the ball, John, and that's a lost art in our game today. Everybody wants to dribble the ball, you know, and they don't bounce it much. You know, they pass the ball, and they know where to pass it. They know whom to pass it to. They know where guys are going to be because they've run the offense for what is this? This is maybe the third year. You know, you're talking about a team that's run their offense for 3 straight years. Think about all the practices, all the games, and you're talking about a team here who's just kind of put things together, trying to put things together. And we're getting better. I thought, you know, we played and competed, I thought, very well against Baylor, and that's, you know, we're getting better, and we're going to be really good. But it's apples and oranges, man. It's a team with tremendous experience, and I mean they were an NCAA tournament team. They played well in the conference tournament. You know, we're putting everything together, and then on top of that, then the guy who, you know, we were counting on to kind of hold things together got a concussion. You know, it's been one of those kind of years.
One more, you've had leads in 3 of the 4 conference games that you've lost in the second half. And I believe you go back to Xavier, I think it was the same deal. You had a second half lead. Can you take anything away from that with your guys?
I think it's different circumstances in all 3.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it happened. No, I don't want it to happen. But I think that, I mean, that's experience too. And the more experience we get, the more we understand what one another's going to do. I mean, how many times have we thrown the ball away when we thought a guy was going to zig, but he zagged? You know, we don't know each other very well yet. And for, you know, whatever anybody wants to say, think, or do, if they don't think that's the case, they don't know a whole lot about our game.
Greg Hunter.
Bob, you played a lot of 3 guards against Baylor, with Seth getting the most minutes he's gotten in his career. Is that just a circumstance of what Baylor was doing in their lineup, or is that something that you liked and you could see a lot more of going forward?
No, I thought we had an opportunity for somebody to make shots, and we didn't have anybody making shots. And Seth probably has been our most consistent shot maker. That's why he played longer than probably what he normally does. And that's why I think he'll continue to play and probably continue to play more and more minutes.
Defensively, how is he? He, as you said, he makes shots. What do you think of his defense?
Well, if you take a look, Neil would probably like to have him as a running back. I mean, he's a strong, tough kid. And you know, not only can he make shots, but he can guard. And I think because of his strength, and because of his tenacity, I think he's a guy who can guard a guard. He can also guard a forward. He's not going to guard many of the centers in our league, but he can guard guards and forwards. He may be our most versatile defender. Well, him and Keedy probably.
Next question goes to Mike Kazaza.
Hey, Bob, how are you?
I'm hanging in, Mike.
I have a question. Out of respect for your opening statement, I don't want to step out of bounds, but I don't think this does. With the opening on your staff, I'm just curious how you plan about going that and what the rules allow you to do. And then I have a second question after that. That's all right.
Well, at the end of the day, we'll do what we always do. We'll make an extended search and try to find the best fit and the best person for the job.
I just meant for the time being now. Like, do you move somebody up? Can you not do that because of middle of the season doesn't make sense and it might disrupt things? I was just trying to figure out like what might be different on Saturday.
Well, I mean, I think we're blessed that you know, Ronnie's been through it. I mean, Ronnie's been a head coach at three different schools, so we have a guy with experience. You know, we also have some other guys that are good basketball guys. So you know, hopefully we can put it all together. But, you know, Mike, honestly, that hasn't been a problem. You can't throw it around like we did early on. I mean, we were throwing around 20 times a game. You can't miss free throws. You know, you gotta stand at the line and make free throws. We did not do that. And you know, you go back and you rerun that and have us make free throws and not throw the ball around. We're not sitting where we're sitting.
Okay. And then speaking of free throws, this is kind of an analogy that you made before, that when a really good free throw shooter goes up and misses one or two, then all of a sudden everybody gets spooked. I wonder if like good things happen for you guys. Like if you, I don't know, hit a shot at the end of a half or a shot clock, or banked in a three, or just had some good stuff happen, would that lift everybody up? You know, whether it's their spirit, their heads, whatever, and just kind of make a difference that you all haven't had in a while?
I thought we played pretty well down the stretch against Baylor. They made some shots. I mean, they made some hard shots. You know, and that's, I mean, come on. I mean, we're talking about a team that there's 2 starting guards played in a national championship game. They're the guy who makes the shots. Really, the shot to win the game is a McDonald's All-American. He was one of the top, 5 or 10 players ranked in the country. I mean, it's not like we got beat by some bums. And their experience, you know, Thamba's been there for like 20 years, I think. And it's, you know, they're a very experienced team. They know what Scott wants done. They set a lot of really good ball screens.
Coach Huggins, I believe Bob Hertzel has a question for you.
Yes, sir. Bob, you know I got to try anyway. Even though I know what I'm going to get. The reason I want to ask about whatever else you can say about what went on is, I mean, at least Larry out there looking like a scapegoat for what's happened with this team, and I have a hunch that that's not really what you want to do. Plus, you also last night kind of hinted maybe that this decision wasn't all yours. Is there anything that you will say? And if not, I'll just be happy I didn't put my face on here.
Well, it's great to see your face, by the way. But
I wish I knew how to do it. I'd do it.
no, there's not anything else to say.
Okay.
Our final question for today goes to Justin Jackson.
Coach, sort of along with those lines, do you foresee any other staff changes? Would there be a need for any other staff changes? Just going by the history of these kind of things, history says it doesn't usually just stop at one. So I'm just wondering, is there anything future-wise that you know we could see with other members of the staff?
You obviously know more than I know.
Hey, Coach Huggins, thank you very much for your time today.
You're welcome.
Thank you.